Focus on Islam. Focus on Islam. Focus on Islam. It's Focus on Islam, an hour program that brings you face to face with Musa Kenneh and his studio guests. Focus on Islam is a program designed to discuss the Islamic faith in totality, from prayers, way of life, Hajj, Ramadan, and many more. Focus on Islam comes this and every Friday only on Real TV. Focus on Islam. Focus on Islam. Focus on Islam. It's Focus on Islam, an hour program that brings you face to face with Musa Kenneh and his studio guests. Focus on Islam is a program designed to discuss the Islamic faith in totality, from prayers, way of life, Hajj, Ramadan, and many more. Focus on Islam comes this and every Friday only on Real TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May peace and blessing of Allah be upon all of your many viewers on Real TV channel 3. This is the audio program of the program Focus on Islam, and today we're privileged to be on the campus of the Sheikh Islamic School, and we are here to meet our initial host on the program, Sheikh Mohammed Dukuly. He normally do his weekend study around Monrovia. Lesson with Muslims around Monrovia, and today he has just completed one of his courses here on the campus of the Sheikh Islamic School, and we are here to discuss the proposition 24. He has been on air discussing his position on it, and from the committee set up by the National Muslim Council, he also has a constitutional issue with the proposition to Christianize Liberia. So we have come now to discuss it, so that to give you the opportunity to understand his personal opinion and the opinion of the Muslim community on the proposition to Christianize Liberia. As you may be aware, the National Muslim Council recently suspended their membership of the Interreligious Council, and before that we had the National Imam Council coming for position that they will boycott any planned referendum if a proposition 24 to Christianize Liberia is included. So we now will Sheikh Mohammed Dukuly. Sheikh, salam alaikum and welcome to Focus on Islam.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh, and thanks for having me.
It's an opportunity to come and meet you on this campus, providing your services to the young people. I want to say thank you for that.
Well, we give glory to the Almighty God for giving us this opportunity to serve Him as well, to mold the minds of young people, not only to be good Muslims, but to be good citizens of this nation.
That's right. Okay, let's come to this proposition to Christianize Liberia. Let's start before coming to the position of the Muslim Council. Let's come to the constitutional nature, because you believe that the entire process is unconstitutional.
Yes, I believe so. Anything that is premised on unconstitutionality itself will result to unconstitutionality. The process that you gave rise to a petition that was not pursued. Okay. If you look at Article 91 of our Constitution, it talks about how before CRC should be formed, or a petition should be made, or amendment should be made. It says that it should first emanate from 2/3 of the majority of both houses, the upper house and the lower houses, concurrently agreeing that it should happen, or a vote not less than 10,000. And even at that, when that vote comes in, then again both houses, they must have 2/3 concurrence again. So if you look at it, the Constitutional Review Committee, the whole process started with the president, strictly to those who are not. It didn't come from the house. It should be something that should come from the house, and now giving the mandate to the president to set up a committee to appoint, right?
So in this, it was the other way around.
It was the other
from
way
the
around.
president to Banga, then to the legislature,
exactly.
instead of coming from the legislature first.
Exactly. And even at that, you realize that the last time when they went to the TRE, they were foul plays. There were news that Muslims boycotted because they were foul plays. If you look at the preliminary view of summaries attained during 2004, 13, and 14, which was a litmus test that the UNDP, UNMIL, all of them put together to be able to analyze and assess the strength of the issues that should be discussed and its importance and relevance to our Liberian peace process, and those things that are pertinent to us. The issue of proposition number 24 had the least vote, the least approval vote. 87.7% of the Liberian population from the 73 electoral district, that is 64 of the 73 electoral districts, said that they don't want Christianization. Okay. Only 9 said yes. Now that 9 translated into percentage is about 12.73% of it, 12.3%. Now if you translate the affirmative aspect of it, or those who say we don't want it, right? They were about 64 electoral districts, it's about 87.7%. Now at that point, that was a litmus test to know whether this is something that should even be part of the discussion points. Since it didn't pass the litmus test, Liberians didn't want it, there was no reason for it to surface. Now it was against that background, based on that review, because they printed a report. The president said cancel it because it should not be a part of it. And the president went there and said Christianization of Liberia is not one of the discussion points because it did not meet the wholesome aspiration of the Liberian people. They said they don't want Christian nation. So why should we even talk about it? You understand? So it was a surprise that it even got there. And it got there the wrong way because it was not one of those discussion points. Now mind you, there were other issues that received higher voting rate, approval rate than that. The decent dress code, it received 24 votes from the 73 electoral districts, right? 24 of the districts say yes, but they ignored that. Nobody talked about it. The two-party system, they ignored that. Nobody talked about it. And today people come and say, oh, we want to make Liberia a Christian nation. Let's forget about that aspect of it. Let's go again. Article 11A of the Constitution talks about inalienable rights, which you cannot vote on. Your right to be a man is a God-given right. Your right to follow your religion is a God-given right that Allah gave you, or the Almighty God gave you. You cannot take that from me, right? Now, this country is a God-given right that God gave all Liberians. For all of us, equally, you cannot change it. Now, I'm going too far. If you go to Article 5 A, B, C, they are all violated. Article 5 A, B, C, they all talk about unification and integration policy. There are any laws that will be made, the law must be purposed at unifying us and integrating into one body politics. Now, tell me whether Christianization is going to do that. As you can see already, it has already created a very volatile situation for us, where families are almost divided on different sectional lines. Now, you go on again, if you go to Article 13, it is violated. It talks about common good of the people. For any petition that must be made or amendment, it must meet the common good of all. Many dictionaries, you go check it, the common good means benefit for all, not benefit for a section. Now, the question is this thing, Christianizing Liberia, or calling a Christian nation, in a common good of all Liberians? Now, mind you, we got Christians, we got Muslims, we got traditionalists, we got atheists, we even have Buddhists in Liberia today, who are Liberians. Is this in the common good of all? So we said no, and as such, it's a violation. Article 91 is a violation. Article 92 even says any amendment that must be made, right, it must be first of all preceded with what? Information. You must give information, therefore giving reason why the amendment should be made. It should be printed in National Gazette, in magazine, in newspaper. There's no reason. Ask those who are behind this thing, why do you want to make Liberia a Christian nation? There's no reason. Up to now, nothing in the paper to give us the reason why it should be made. So we are saying, based on all of these things with other constitutional provisions, and where also it says that there should be a separation of state and religion, you cannot make this country a Christian nation. It is an illegal process. The whole process from beginning up to now, it is illegal. Now, anything that is premised on illegality itself will end up to be illegal. You cannot be illegal at the beginning and then it end up to have a legal result. So we are saying it is unconstitutional. This isn't a matter of sympathy, and that is the reason why we Muslims say we will not be part of anything that is a crime under the law. If you do that, I think they call it aiding and abetting, an accomplice to a crime. Anyone who goes for such a proposition that is premised on illegality and unconstitutionality, you have become an abettor to a crime, you have become an aid to a crime, and that is criminal under the law.
Okay, Sheikh Dukuly, let's come now to the recent position of the Muslim Council. Were you consulted by the council before that position?
Yeah, it was a collective decision, representative of the aspiration of all Muslims in this country. I was consulted, and many people were consulted.
Do you believe that some are saying that the decision was premature? You should have waited for the council of churches to make it?
I think those who say that without proper investigation, that's naivety at the highest level. That's naivety and insincerity and hypocrisy. Now, from the onset of this thing, this idea of making Liberia a Christian nation did not start 7 months ago. It started more than 10 years ago.
But the Christian Council came. I just want to come. The Council of Churches came from the onset of this a year ago that they were not in support of it.
This is what I want to explain to you. It started more than 7 months ago, this thing being done. And every time the idea came about, or let's even go 7 months ago when the idea came about, right? When it was brought up at the Constitutional Review Committee, The National Muslim Council, being an integral part of the the Interreligious Council, confronted the Liberal Council of Churches. At the time, the Interreligious Council was chaired by Sheikh Mohammed Dukuly, the late Sheikh Mohammed Dukuly, right? And co-chaired by what? Bishop Hart, who is now the chair, right? And the Liberal Council of Churches, Bishop Hart being the head of the Liberal Council of Churches, Liberal Council of Churches denied it. But the denial, or it denouncing it, was not public, it was not done in media, in the print. It was just, listen, are you part of this? Yeah, well, no, we don't know. But they did not come out to make any bold position statement up to present. Now, it kept going on. When they went to the conference, came back, National Muslim Council confronted them. They denied it. Recent, again, National Muslim Council confronted them. They denied until February 24th. February 24th was the public hearing on the illegal public hearing. Let me say it that way. The illegal and unconstitutional public hearing on the proposition number 24. By the legislature. The legislature illegally. That was unconstitutional. You cannot use taxpayers' money for a country that should be non-religious, non-sectional, to say, come and tell me why we should not allow Christians to make it. It's illegal. You are violating the Constitution. But let's put that aside. At that particular public hearing, there was a 7-man delegation led by Reverend Dr. Arnold Hill. And he said unequivocally, without any pressure, any gun to his head, that we are here as a delegation representing the Liberal Council of Churches. Anything we say here today is not our own. It is in complete conformance and representation of the Liberal Council of Churches. At that point, the Muslim community, we felt, and we still feel betrayed and deceived by the Liberal Council of Churches, because we kept asking this question over and over. And even before that time, before the February 24th, the Liberal Council of Churches told the National Muslim Council of Liberia that they were doing investigation. They set up a committee since 7 months ago. You want to tell me the committee cannot come out with finding? So they didn't come out with any finding, and the thing kept creeping. As you see, it's been creeping through. They will deny it, but they can't come out. There's no one newspaper that will tell you that Liberal Council of Churches came out with a statement at the time. Show me one newspaper that said they are not part of it. They didn't do it, just word of mouth. We are not part of it. We don't know what we're doing. It's a bunch of individuals, a handful of individuals, which we found to be very misleading and very untrustworthy. And that's a betrayal aspect. Now, if you and I were in a marriage, or if our children are in a marriage, right, where I represent the husband and you represent the wife, or our children are doing business, let me put it that way. If there is something emanating that would be dangerous to the success of that business, right, from my side, or from my son, who is going to be responsible to intervene and make sure that that thing is dealt with adequately? I am going to be the one responsible. The fact that there was a news that emanated from the side of the Liberal Council of Churches that there are people who want to derail the peace process, who want to divide this country, who want to destroy this country by bringing about this illegal proposition, it is the responsibility of the Liberal Council of Churches to make swift intervention by investigating and coming up findings and distancing itself from those things, and then joining hands with the National Muslim Council of Liberia to move forward. But they have not done that. Now, even after the suspension of the National Muslim Council's membership, and that's where I think many of us in this country, we need to be careful. It's like we don't read or we don't analyze. There's a clear distinction in the dictionary between suspension and withdrawal. But it's that in this country, people don't know the difference between suspension and withdrawal. You can suspend, meaning you are inactive for now. When you withdraw, you have cancelled. You are not part of it anymore. But I hear people in the news say withdrawal. Even people who claim to be lawyers, they are saying withdrawal. All the newspapers, I don't know where the editors-generals are, the editors-in-chief are. They come and say withdrawal. We didn't withdraw. We suspended our membership until that trust that was bestowed upon the Liberal Council of Churches or conferred upon them can be restored. They can convince us beyond reasonable doubt that we are in this together and will uphold the fundamental reasons and principles for which the Interreligious Council was organized.
Okay, Sheikh, I just want to come to the position given by the committee you talk about at the legislature. They are saying that they have changed their position from Christian state to Christian nation. According to them, a Christian nation or Christian state will be where the country will be governed by the Bible, the laws will be by the Bible. And then their Christian nation will be where the name will just be the Christian Republic of Liberia. Why can't you accept that, according to them?
First of all, it is unconstitutional if you and I have a piece of phone left for us by our grandfather, and all of a sudden you decide you want to put your name on it. Is that legal? It is illegal. This country is not for Christians alone. It is not for Muslims alone. It is not for traditionalists alone. So how come Christians will get up, a modicum of individuals will get up and say, we want to make a Christian nation? That's the first thing. It is legal. Number two, for you to tell me, now these guys keep vacillating. They keep, vacillating into this discussion. They move from one thing to another. Before they wanted Christian state. Now, they come back, they say, they don't want Christian state because they will not use the Bible. What a hypocrisy. If you are a true Christian, and you really believe in the Bible, you live a Christian life, you want a Christian state, right? Because you want the Bible. If you really understand your Bible and believe in it, then the Bible should be the highest exemplar of moral rectitude. You get my point? So you should even be pushing that the Bible should be the moral code that will be used. But because these guys are hypocrites, they are liars, they don't live a Christian life, now they are coming back. When we brought the ideology, you want a Christian state. What is a Christian state? They can tell us. What do you use to govern? They say constitution. Hypocrisy. But now they say they want a Christian nation, they just want an identity. You see the hypocrisy? Now, this is in furtherance of the vices we see in this country. The liquor stores are owned by Christians who are just Christians by identity. That's why I can say now. The nightclubs are owned by Christians with Christians with identity. The Masonic temple was built by whom? Christians. Most of the members, majority of the members are whom? Christians. Their leaders are whom? Christians. So maybe it's telling me that those people are Christian by identity. They don't live a Christian life. So that hypocritical life they live is what they want to legalize now. You go to New Jersey, Johnson, all of the Johnson, Ghana, all of these places, even here, all you see are clubs. Are they owned by Muslims? No, they are owned by Christians. So, and that will tell me then these are people who don't believe in the Bible, because in Matthew 5:16 it says, let your light shine before men, or let your good work so shine before men, or let your light shine before men so that they will praise your good work, so that they will see your good work and praise your Father in heaven. Let your light shine before men, that they will see your good work and praise your Father in heaven. Meaning, live the right life as per the Bible, and your Christianity will be known. But for you to say, I just want an identity, then you are a hypocrite to the very message of Jesus Christ, peace upon him. Because Jesus Christ never legislated law to be a Christian. He never called himself Christian, and he never forced anyone to be a Christian. So in a country to say, we just want a Christian identity, that means you want to further the vices that have taken place. And I asked a question one time. I said, from the onset of this country up to present, who have been the president? All Christian leaders. So now you are telling me actually they've been Christians by identity. They have never been Christians by life. Because Christianity should be an honorable way of life as per the teaching of Jesus Christ, peace upon him. But because people are doing their own thing, using the name of religion, like the Bible says, on the day of Christ will tell them, get away from me, you heathens, you demons, you worship me with your lips, but your hearts are far removed from me. And that's what I see happening now. So those guys who say they want Christian identity, we urge Liberians to stay away from them. They are more dangerous than danger. They are liars, they are hypocrites, they are deceptive, they have their own agenda that they want to achieve using religion, because they know religion is a very emotional topic and it can lead to confusion if not handled properly. Now, some people say, let's test the democracy. First of all, you cannot go to democracy, the referendum, illegally.
And that was what I was coming to.
Right.
Because most of the, if you read social media and you read all of the papers, because the Christians are challenging you to test your democracy true vote. Go to the pool and vote. But now the Muslim Imam Council is saying they will not vote. According to them, you will be violating their right to vote for Christian state.
We are saying we will not vote, we will not participate in anything that is illegal. If you start this process the right way, and if it should meet all of the constitutional provisions, where there is no violation, there is no breach of constitutional provision, we will vote, right? But let's assume that it has met constitutional provision, there is no violation, and we went and voted for it, right? Would that serve the common good of all Liberians? Now, I asked a question the last time. If we were to come, because you know democracy, if we don't handle it logically, we don't be careful with the word democracy, if it is not logically and wisely and patriotically handled, it leads to what we call demon crazy or democracy. It will result to demonic activities and the result will be crazy. Now, if we decide, because you say majority, let's assume the majority in Liberia decide to vote. They say a man should sleep with his daughter, right? And the majority decide that, okay, we'll vote for it. And the law is passed that every man, you are required to sleep with your daughter. Would that serve the common interest of the Liberian people? Would that be democracy? That's democracy. But even those who are saying this, in the question I asked them, where were they? Where were these very Liberians who are saying that referendum, where were they when the gay rights, those who want gay rights in this country stood up Because if it's the democracy, then it is their right. Where were they? Why did they not give them the opportunity for us to go vote on gay rights? Why did we even thwart it in the very beginning? Because the issue of gay and lesbianism is not in the common interest of Liberians, and therefore Liberians kicked against it. But you see the hypocrisy, you see the contradiction? When Achi Pompa and the rest of them said they wanted gay rights, with Liberian people who said, no, that's not part of it, it's not in our interest. Why didn't we go to referendum? Because we're afraid that if we went to referendum, they might win. We're afraid that if we put into vote, they might win, right? But we knew that it was not in the interest of the Liberian people who said no. So the same way we are saying this is not in the interest of the Liberian people. One, it is illegal. It is premised on illegality and unconstitutionality. It does not serve the interest of the Liberian people in general. It will lead to division and chaos in this country, and therefore we will not vote on anything as such.
Okay, let's come to the relationship between you, the scholars, the imams, and the preachers with the common Muslims, because according to some of your colleagues, some of the Christians, that most Muslims are on social media in order to threaten the peace of Liberia. Have you observed that? Have you seen that?
I think it's ballooning when people say that. If anyone who is threatened in this place is we the Muslims. We are the ones who are threatened. But you see, people play media politics. You realize that most of the media houses, they downplay the offenses against Muslim, they downplay the threats against Muslim. But you know, I read the inquiry yesterday. I think the inquiry the editor-in-chief is Philip Wisse.
Yeah.
You know, it was so unethical and unprofessional. They had a story that was captioned, Kofi Woods urged Liberian Muslims to reconsider their decision. When you go into it, everything is a different story. There's a little portion. And you know what he said? They quoted indirectly. Kofi Wood, in his statement, he said, we are appealing to the National Muslim Council to please consider its decision to come back, to restore its membership with what? The Interreligious Council. It's appeal and urge, the same thing. Two different things, but because they want to make money, no ethics anymore. And they made it as though Muslims had done bad things. They even used the word withdrew. We did not withdraw. But my point is, we are the ones who have been threatened, we Muslims. You tell us something that we, in fact, I can say, if it comes to the history of this country, Muslims own this country more than Christians. Because Muslims were here before Christians arrived. So we were very tolerant, we were very welcoming, we were open. We said, come, you are our brothers, you look like our, we have the same color. Hey, since the token is slavery free, you come. We'll give you a place to sit down, we'll give you a shoulder to lean on, then you turn and say, our head is stink. And that's what they've done to now. As though that is not enough, you have marginalized us for years. Now you want to legalize the marginalization. And so who is threatened? We are the one threatened. How many times do you see an imam being put on a salary for any of the ministries? But almost every ministry you have a chaplain, a Christian chaplain paid on government salary, paid by government taxes, most of whom are Muslims. How many times on Christmas, you know how much money they waste on Christmas decoration in the budget? But we are tolerant. And I think because we are so silent, people take our silence for absence. They take our tolerance for weakness. We are not weak people. Right? But we are tolerant. We believe in the peace-building process. We believe in mutual coexistence. And most of the time we believe in salvation. Do you understand? So we are the one threatened. Now all of a sudden you can't say, in fact, since we've done all of this to these people, they are not saying that put it into law. Because they are getting to know their rights. Before they didn't know their rights, so we didn't care. Now they know their rights. If we don't put it into law and legalize the illegal, legalize the marginalization, a time will come they will get their rights back. Now I'm coming 1 second. So now you want to put it into law. So who is threatened? You say you want to make Liberia a Christian nation and I'm a Muslim. Tomorrow, if a Muslim wants to be a president, you think you agree for me? Yeah, look, you'll never agree. A Muslim decides to run for minister position and he has the majority. You will blatantly open your eyes and say, listen, this is a Christian nation. How possible will it be for Muslim to be? So who is threatened? We are the one threatened. Now, what happens is, if you keep stepping on my foot, and I keep telling you, you're stepping on my foot. You're stepping on, if you don't pay attention, the little child foot, sometimes I got to push you, right? I got to call your attention. Maybe I'll slap you on the shoulder or knock your foot. I think that's what Muslims are doing. They are pushed us against the wall. So we are telling them, listen, you have threatened us, but if you beat us, we'll respond. We'll respond adequately. And we told them, this thing is not healthy for us. And those Muslims who are doing it, of course, we call upon them. If they are saying anything that is considered threat, which they should leave it. Violence is not the way. But we should not say Muslims are the one threatening. We are the one threatening as Muslims. I think they are only responding. But what our advice to them is that our response could be channeled in a more peaceful way, in a more organized way, in a more legal way. That's our message to the Muslim community. But it is the Christians. I'm not saying all Christians. It is those Christians who want to make Liberia a Muslim Christian nation. They are the ones who are threatening the Muslims, and Muslims are only trying to defend themselves.
Okay, this point raised by some of our colleagues on the other side. Yes, you have the Islamic Republic of Saudi Arabia, the Islamic Republic of Iran, you have Iraq, you have Kuwait, and recently,
Gambia.
mostly they have been talking about President Yahya Jammeh of Gambia pronouncing, not being legislature, pronouncing Gambia as a Muslim state. They are saying, why can Liberia be a Christian state if Gambia, Yahya Jammeh can pronounce his country as an Islamic state?
I think we are not even reading history. And we are reading it, we are not understanding it. Saudi Arabia has always been an Islamic state. Iran, Iraq, these are Arab countries, the Middle East, right? Gambia, Senegambi, that's a real name. It used to be Senegambi, Senegal and Gambia. Look at the history of Senegal. Look at the history of Gambia. They've always been Islamic countries. From day one, as all of the tourists are going on the internet, even tourists, when you go to Gambia, before even this pronouncement, every tourist that ever went to Gambia, when you get to the airport, the first thing they tell you, Assalamu alaikum, and say, this is our greeting. It has always been a Muslim country. It is quite different. It's that you make a comparison, an illogical comparison between apples and oranges. Liberian history is different. It has never been that way. Gambia, everything about them has always been Islamic. Right? So the pronunciation is even belated. It has always been, they live Islamic life. That has not been the issue with Liberia. Liberia has always been secular. Now, even if you want to push that, oh, those who came, they were Christian, what sort of Christian principle did they abide by? When they came in, what did they build first? A Masonic temple, a society hall. They didn't build churches. Number two, what were they doing? They were ostracizing and dehumanizing their fellow human. The same treatment that they got from the white man, they unleashed the same devilish treatment against other natives in this country. University of Liberia used to be called what? The College of Liberia or something, right? How many natives you saw going there? Until they forced people, before even you could be a native, you could go to school, you had to change your name, right? You change your name from Yabawolo to what? To Freeman. A Freeman, which is not even a real name, it means that you are just free from slavery. And people were being molested. Now, sometimes I laugh when I hear people say, we, our forefathers. When you read the 1847 the preamble, or even the Declaration, when you read those things, and it was a book written by Daniel Ewudon, right? It talked about a historical dictionary of Liberia. That's the name of the book. In there, he said, we, the people of the Republic of Liberia, were once inhabitants of the United States of North America. So these Yabagolo, the Kiazulu, the this and that who are calling themselves we today, when did they go to America? Were they ever from America? So I laugh when I see those natives who say our forefathers. When they became your forefathers? The people came, they said they're from North America. Listen, they say we the people of the Republic
I want to follow, come to discuss
I'm
that
coming
preamble
now.
Because a lawmaker tried
I'm coming 1 second
now.
I'm coming 1 second. So it is very crazy and ballistic that people say, you know, this is our heritage, we want to go to our heritage and blah, blah, blah. Liberia has always been a secular state. And even at that, in 1847, they said that no sect of Christians, because they didn't have much knowledge about Islam. They didn't even know that Islam has sect. But in their weak knowledge, they said no sect of Christians will have absolute preference over another sect. Now Islam, people get read, they're reading that Islam has sects. You know that, right? Yeah. So they were just saying no one dominates over the other. And there's nothing in the 1847 preamble or constitution that say that Liberia was based on Christian principles. But if you say Liberia was based on Christian principles, then what are those Christian principles? What were those Christian principles? Marginalization, corruption. The Congo came to Liberia, the American Liberians, they were less than 20%. But if you look at the wealth accumulation of Liberia, they have 98% wealth accumulation against the natives. Is that fairness? One of the principles of Christianity is fairness, is love, is justice. Where are those things? Trust, honesty, where are those things? They are not there. So what were the Christian principles? We kill ourselves. Who are those who stood up and killed Toba? Were they Muslims? They were Christians. So I can say maybe tell me they were Christian with identity. Who are those who stood against Doe? They were Muslims. They were Christians. Who are those who trained Charles Taylor to come back here for war? They were Christians until recently. And when they came, what happened? They started instead of coming to get rid of those who were killing Muslims. So Muslims stood up to defend themselves. But that's a whole different topic.
Okay, shall I come to the historical nature of Liberia? When the American, Liberian American you're talking about, when they came to Liberia, 1821, 1822, they came, they met the Mamba Bassos, but they tried to drove them out of Liberia. But you had this king of Muslim, King Kisara Boso, that asked them to stay. And the deputy chief imam of Liberia said, if King Kisara Boso would have known that the people he was about to help will one day want to marginalize his people, then Liberia will not be called Liberia. Do you agree with that? If Kisara Boso would have known that the American Liberian that he was about to help will one day turn
I want to agree because at that time it was a whole kingdom. Like Kisara Boso controlled a whole kingdom, a whole territory, really living from all the way Buwatasa coming, Bopulu, all the way you named it, right?
He had the power.
Right? And he had the ability to control. He had the power, it was controlled. But because the Quran teaches, if someone comes to you and the person needs a refuge, even if they don't believe, you say, give them a place to stay. And you understand? So we accommodate Dasa. The Bassa people, they said that they will not allow the African Americans, the free slaves, the slaves to settle, right? And Kisara Boso history, our history proves that he had to stand and say, you have sold your land to the people for a while, small fish and all of
Although some Liberians are disputing that he was not a Muslim.
Now they say he was not a Muslim. But let's put it that way, let be as it is, right? He said that if you touch them, I will cut off your heads. He stood, he said, these are our brothers, they have come, we should allow them to settle. So definitely, if he knew that this was the ulterior motive, you think he would have done that? He never would have done that. He never. But because of generosity, that's why he allowed. And maybe you never would have had the thing called Liberia.
Okay, Sheikh, I spoke with one lawmaker. He was just stressing on this preamble of the 1843 Constitution you talk about. He is saying that the Constitution referencing God was specific about Christianity.
That guy is not qualified. I don't know who the lawmaker, but any lawmaker that
he said it was specific about Christianity. In that preamble, you didn't find any religious group like Islam in the preamble. The inhabitants of America are Christian, devoting God, acknowledging God. Their acknowledgement of God, according to this lawmaker, was based on a Christian faith. So meaning Liberia was a Christian nation prior to the 1986 Constitution.
You
Do
know,
you agree with that?
In law, anytime you make a statement, it must be proven beyond. You don't make law based on gesticulation or perception or thought. That's a crime in law. And for you to tell me a lawmaker says that the appearance of God in the preamble was about what? About Christianity? I'm baffled. And that person, I don't know how they got to be a lawyer. I mean a lawmaker. Because if you don't even understand law, how can you make law? How can you interpret law? That person needs to be removed, shamefully. Let me tell you this. God is God Almighty. The same God they talk about is what we say Allahu. Allahu means the God Almighty. Right? Now, the mention of God does not even have anything to do with Liberia being a Christian nation. They were expressing devout gratitude to God for giving them the blessings of the Christian religion. Oh, what was that blessing? Liberty. They were freed. Right? Being free does not mean that Liberia is premised on Christian principle. They were freed. You know that thing I was reading said we the people of the Republic of Liberia when once it happened in United States of America, it's at some point in time were debarred by laws that stopped them from doing this. If you read that book where they were judged by their color. So, and before the abolition of slavery could take place, there was a heated argument between the Christians, the very Christians. One group was saying that it is not right to keep a slave. You are dehumanizing them. The other group said no, the Bible supports it. They say it's supposed to. They say you slave obey your earthly master. Right? So there was this heated argument. What made them to finally give in when the ACS or the abolitionists at the time, those who were advocating to free slave, they brought this at the end. The ideology of free slave, it was not so much because they really believed that it was against human rights. Let me tell you the truth. They fear that if they did not remove those African Americans, they used to call them Negro, black slaves from America, one day will come where they will pollute their race. Just like you see now, where Obama was born of an African father and a white mother, and now he has racing, or he has gone to the level of becoming what? President, the highest position in America. That's what they were afraid of, and therefore they said, we have to move these people from this country. Otherwise, they will love to your daughters, these black slaves. And because people were so racist, and that they bought into that idea quickly. And that's how they freed them. And when they gave them slavery, there was a condition. The condition was, if you are free, we got to take you out of this country. Otherwise, you remain slavery. That was the condition. Go read. The only way you get your freedom, you must agree for us to resettle you. They went to Sierra Leone. We know about several islands. Many of them died there. They couldn't make it, and later on, they found their way here. Right? Now, that's the blessing they're talking about. But it's not a blessing to say Liberia was premised on Christian principle. Nothing. And anyone who says Liberia was built on Christian principle, that's the clause that they can use. Now, if you analyze it grammatically,
and they said the Constitutional Declaration in each Filipino was signed in the Prevalent Baptist Church.
Where could they have signed it at that time? Tell me. It was their choice. It was their choice. It's not that was the only place. In fact, if they were really doing the right thing, without any marginalization, they could sign it in the Palava or they could sign it in other places. But it was a choice. Right? It does not mean because it was done that means that is right. There are pacts that have been signed in Arab countries. Does that mean they are Islamic oriented? There are agreements that have been signed in other places. Does that mean that they are only the Akosomo Accord that was signed? Does that mean that everything about it is Ghanaian related? No! But that's the era that was chosen for it to be signed. And that's the era that they chose to sign it. Right? Now let's even bring this other argument. Those who signed that, according to what we read, most of them were in the church. Because the first set of leaders that came, there were people sent from America to come and govern those free slaves until they can read and write. They didn't know how to read and write. Nothing. They came here, they didn't know anything. So those people, if they were true Christians, they were true to Christianity. What stopped them at that time from empirically and evidently and documentarily inscribing in that piece of legal document to say Liberia is a Christian nation? What stopped them at the time? If truly Liberia was a Christian nation, and it was premised on Christian principle, what could have stopped them from saying it? They never would have left room for dubiety. But it was clear that Liberia is not premised on Christian nation. That's why even when they came, the life they lived was unchristian. It was unchristian. Christianity does not tell you to dehumanize and humiliate others. It says, change your name. You can't go to school. And when our children go to school, you are not good for power. You must join society. Go kill people. Christianity tells you that. Where was the law? Where was the equality? That's one of the principles in equality. Sharing. Where was that principle? Liberia has never been built on Christian principle. There has never been a Christian lifestyle yet to be seen. Everything we see is Christian identity. People are Christian by birth. They become radical Christian. And I think that is the identity. That is the kind of nature that they want to legislate and make law. Now, what will happen? As it is now, Liberia is a secular state. These vices are proliferating because all of the presidents of Liberia have been Christian. We got laws, moral laws, and they are not being upheld. And those who should uphold them, they are Christians, right? As it is now, we got proliferation of vices. I want you to imagine what will happen tomorrow if we decide to make Liberia a Christian nation that is only premised on identity. People will kill people, and nothing will happen as it is happening. This country will just be bad. We are saying it is divisive, it is unconstitutional, it does not serve the common good of Liberians, it has never worked, it violates the integration and unification policy of this country, and it will not hold. Okay, Sheikh, now finally, in the case, finally, we go through the legislative voting process, and you pass through that process, and then it's put up for referendum. Will you remain firm and ask your brothers or your sisters not to go to the poll? And if that is done, and then the others go to vote, you get 60% of the vote up, and then it's voted upon by brothers of Christian nation. What's next? Let me say that first of all, we believe that we want to challenge those who are in the House of Legislature, those legislators, the upper house, the representatives in the lower house. We are challenging them to do the right thing. They were sworn into office and they took an oath to stand up for the right thing and do it. And they said, so help me God. No favoritism, no partialism, no sectionalism, no religious affiliation. You should do your job. You were elected into office by Liberians to serve Liberia, and everything you do must be in the common interest of all Liberians, regardless of any religious or denominational background. That's the first thing we want to see. Now, if those legislators are people then who will adhere to what I'm telling them, this thing will never go to referendum. It will be trashed wherever it should be in there. It should be trashed and buried forever. But if those legislators and those representatives decide to be heedless of their responsibilities, ignore the reasons for which they were elected, and decide to do the wrong thing, one, society will hold them accountable, posterity will hold them accountable, and will bring chaos in this country. We Muslims, First of all, peacefully we'll stay away from such referendum because it is illegal. We will not do it. That's number one. That's the first step. We have already told our people. Anything to legislate this country into a Christian nation, it is unconstitutional, illegal. We Muslims will not be a part of it. We'll boycott it. That's one. We'll use, and number two, we'll use every and all means available to us under the law to fight this. I told someone, I said, we believe strongly that those who are sitting on the Supreme Court bench, they are people that they are honorable. They say honorable justice this, justice this. They are honorable people, and they are people who want to leave a legacy in history, and they will not want to do the wrong thing. And the Supreme Court is there for all of us. So if they challenge it, they don't want to pay attention, let them go ahead and do it, but we will not be a part of it. Are we going to get involved in violence? No, we don't believe in violence as Muslims. We'll be very peaceful. We'll be law-abiding. We'll challenge every decision that is taken through the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court is there for all of us. The only thing is, sometimes we don't like to test the law, but we'll test the law to the fullest this time around. So those who thinking that, well, no, nothing. We don't. Listen, and when it comes to investment in this country, Muslims have the highest investment. You didn't want our properties destroyed? We don't want it. You didn't want our investment destroyed? You didn't want our businesses destroyed? We don't want it. We are equally protective of our properties and concerned about our children's future in this country as well. It's for all of us. So we don't want violence. And we call upon anyone who will be involved in statements that could lead to violence to stop. But we say no to it, we'll boycott it, that's the first step. And there'll be other series of civil disobedience that will follow. And then the Supreme Court will come in and will seek the Supreme Court. So those, and there are also Christians who are threatening. Someone told me in my face, oh, you're making big mouth. You know, the person calling the phone, if we make this Christian, we'll break your mouth. And even you will not even talk on any radio show here. That's not a threat. And someone even told me, you're not even from here. And I laughed because that's sheer stupidity. But we have been threatened as well. Some people that will kill all Muslims. In fact, one guy told me, he said, let any Muslim boycott it, will kill and deport you from this country. What a stupid statement. So Muslims are equally being threatened. And the last thing, something I also want to bring, you know, the media was on the rampage talking about how Muslims withdrew. National Muslim Council withdrew. They didn't even investigate. They were rushing, was premature. This very media is one-sided. The Liberal Council of Churches said they were going to come up with a position statement. It's been more than a week now. The Liberal Council of Churches has not come up with any position statement denouncing its association, its affiliation, its approval for what is happening. And the media is quiet because it's the Liberal Council of Churches. You see how one-sided and biased we are? You see how we derail, undermine the peace process? So why is the media not challenging the Liberal Council of Churches, pushing against the world to come up to say whether they are part of it or not? And in this medium, I'm calling on all media houses, if you really believe in doing the right thing, upholding the peace process of this country, and seeing this country going forward, it is your challenge now to go back to the Liberal Council of Churches and tell them, National Muslim Council suspended its membership because they believe that you are not trustworthy, you betrayed them in the process, you have not come out to clear the doubt, the burden of proof is on you, why are you silent? We don't hear that from the media, they are all quiet, all year, the Muslim withdrew, Muslim left violent, Muslim like this. You know, again, they say speech is free. They say in Hebrew we say in our parlant, they say what? Parlant we say what? Talk that free, right? So talk that free, nobody can talk. You can't stop them from talking, but you just remember everything you say, you can be held accountable. It either has a direct effect on you or indirect effect on you. Either you directly or the people around you. So again, we call Liberians to remain peaceful. This country is the only place that someone always say no one can deport us from. And we should try to uphold it. This is our own. We should not allow someone to destroy our country. Now, mind you, there are people who are sitting waiting to hijack our fragile peace. You got Boko Haram. You got other people in the name of Islam and Christianity. Now, someone can even get up to one and say, and yo, Jesus Christ, maybe they're not even Christian, and cause a damage, and Christianity to be held accountable, right? Equally, so somebody could get up and say, Allahu Akbar, they're not even Muslim, and cause a damage, and Islam will be held accountable. Now, you're talking about Christianization. And you can't talk about Christianization without any kind of ill feeling from the side of Muslim in this country, right? And there are people sitting out there. They're jealous the kind of peaceful coexistence we've had over the year. They're jealous the kind of commingling we've had over the year. They're jealous the amicable relationship we've developed with each other over the year. We should not allow anyone to take advantage of that and hijack it. Because someone from the blue that we don't even know, who's not even a Liberian, could come there and do something crazy tomorrow in the name of religion. And that is what we all should strive to avoid. This thing is divisive. It has the potential for chaos. It could divide us. So we are calling on both Muslims and non-Muslims alike, those who really have the love of this country at heart, to say no to Christianization of Liberia. We don't want a Christian nation. It reminds me, lastly, of the story of the two women who came to King Solomon. The two of them brought a baby, right? One claimed that the baby was hers. The other one also had a counter claim that the baby was hers. And King Solomon said, what do you want me to do? The lady who did not really have love for that baby, who didn't have feeling for that baby, said, she was quick to say, let's cut the baby into two halves. Let's cut this baby into two halves. Let me carry my half, let her carry her half. The one who really bore the pain of that baby, who had feeling and love for that baby, said, no, let that woman have the baby. I'm okay. And King Solomon, being blessed with the wisdom of God, knew that the real owner of the baby is the one who had the feeling. I say this to mean that those who are behind this campaign, they don't love this country. They have an agenda, and maybe it's only in chaos that they can celebrate themselves. Maybe it's only in destruction that they can celebrate themselves. Maybe it's only in disunity that they can celebrate themselves, and we should not allow them to derail and distract us from what we are on. May the good Almighty God bless our nation and save us from the hands of these tyrants. Again, thank you for having me. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege and honor. Thank you, sir. Again, thank you to all of you for watching on Real TV Channel 3. My name is Musa Kenneh. Solomon Ware is the cameraman. We've been discussing with Sheikh Mohammed Dukuly on Proposition 24 to Christianizing Liberia. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thank you for joining us in the program.
Focus on Islam. Focus on Islam. It's Focus on Islam, an hour program that brings you face to face with Musa Kenneh and his studio guests. Focus on Islam is a program designed to discuss the Islamic faith in totality, from prayers, way of life, Hajj, Ramadan, and many more. Focus on Islam comes this and every Friday only on Real TV. Focus on Islam. Focus on Islam. Focus on Islam. It's Focus on Islam, an hour program that brings you face to face with Musa Kenneh and his studio guests. Focus on Islam is a program designed to discuss the Islamic faith in totality, from prayers, way of life, Hajj, Ramadan, and many more. Focus on Islam comes this and every Friday only on Real TV.